They said his time was over. At 33, playing in Japan, battling injuries that kept him sidelined for months, the speculation grew louder, with each Springbok squad announcement that didn't include his name. Critics questioned whether the double World Cup winner still had what it takes, whether age had caught up with the man who once terrorized the world's best teams. Then came the call. Auckland, New Zealand, the All Blacks, waiting. And suddenly, Faf de Klerk was exactly where he belonged. In the green and gold, ready to prove that champions don't just fade away. This is the story of the comeback that nobody saw coming, and the veteran who refuses to let his legacy end on a soft note. Picture the scene, August 2025. And South African rugby supporters are watching their scrum half rotation with growing concern. The depth that once seemed endless suddenly looks vulnerable. Key players struggling with form, others battling injuries, the precision and tempo that define Springbok's success beginning to waver. Meanwhile, 8,000 kilometers away in Japan, a compact figure in Yokohama Cannon Eagles colors is grinding through rehabilitation sessions, pushing his 33-year-old body through recovery protocols that would break players half his age. The thigh injury that kept him out of the Rugby Championship's opening matches was supposed to be a minor setback. Instead, it became the catalyst for the most important chapter of his career. But here's what the data's missed. Faf de Klerk doesn't know how to quit. From the moment he first pulled on a Springbok jersey, de Klerk represented something unique in South African rugby. Not the biggest player, not the fastest, but possessed of an intensity and competitive fire that could change the complexion of any match. His journey from Nelspruit schoolboy to World Cup legend wasn't built on natural advantages. It was forged through relentless determination and an absolute refusal to accept limitations. The path to this moment began long before the injury concerns and selection doubts. It started with a decision that shocked South African rugby, leaving the familiar comforts of domestic competition for the uncertainty of English rugby. With Sale Sharks, and the move initially cost him his Springbok place due to selection policies that favored locally based players. Critics called it career suicide. De Klerk called it essential development. What happened next validated every risk he'd taken. The English Premiership didn't just test his skills, it transformed them, playing against different styles, adapting to varied conditions, learning from international teammates who brought diverse perspectives to the game. When Rassie Erasmus changed the selection criteria and recalled him in 2018, de Klerk returned as a completely evolved player. The 2019 Rugby World Cup became his personal showcase. That quarter-final performance against Japan, where he was named player of the match, demonstrated the full scope of his development: crisp passing, intelligent kicking, tireless work rate, and most importantly, leadership under pressure when the stakes couldn't be higher. But the real test of champions isn't winning once. It's sustaining excellence across multiple cycles. The 2023 World Cup in France provided that ultimate examination. By now, de Klerk was no longer the emerging talent proving himself. He was the established veteran, the experienced leader that younger players looked to for guidance. The pressure was different, but no less intense. Could he deliver again when everything was on the line? His 50th Test cap celebration against Scotland in the tournament opener told the story perfectly. Not just personal achievement, but team success built on foundations he'd helped establish. The record victory against New Zealand that followed demonstrated how individual brilliance could elevate collective performance. Yet success brings its own challenges. As 2024 progressed into 2025, the natural evolution of team dynamics meant younger players were pushing for opportunities. International rugby's physical demands become more punishing with age. The move to Japanese rugby, while financially rewarding, raised questions about competitive intensity and international readiness. The thigh injury that sidelined him earlier in 2025 seemed to confirm the skeptics' predictions. Missing crucial Rugby Championship matches against Australia, watching from afar as team chemistry developed without him. Social media speculation about retirement. Media analysis suggesting his international career was effectively over. But champions respond to adversity differently than ordinary players. While others might have accepted the narrative and begun planning for life after international rugby, de Klerk intensified his rehabilitation. Not just physical recovery, but tactical study, analyzing current team patterns, understanding how the game plan had evolved in his absence. preparing for an opportunity that might never come. The call to join the squad in New Zealand wasn't guaranteed selection. It was barely a chance to compete for consideration. Additional cover, the official announcement read, insurance policy against further injuries, a veteran presence to help prepare younger players. Klerk saw it differently. He saw redemption. Auckland's Eden Park represents rugby's ultimate examination, the All Blacks fortress, where visiting teams arrive with hope and leave with hard-earned lessons about the difference between good and great. For a 33-year-old trying to prove his international career wasn't over, there could be no more appropriate stage. But this moment was about more than personal validation. The Springboks needed what de Klerk uniquely provides: tactical intelligence combined with competitive intensity. His understanding of game tempo, when to accelerate, when to control, when to apply pressure, remains unmatched among South African scrum halves. The business side of his career adds another dimension to the comeback story. Playing for Yokohama Kinnan Eagles in Japan represents more than just financial opportunity. It's exposure to different rugby philosophies, training methods, and competitive pressures. The skills developed in Japan's highly tactical, precision-focused league translate directly to international rugby's strategic demands. This co-founding of Fafi's underwear brand demonstrates entrepreneurial thinking that extends beyond rugby. Building business ventures while maintaining elite athletic performance requires time management and strategic planning that enhance rather than distract from sporting goals. These parallel commitments prove that his motivation for international rugby comes from competitive desire rather than career necessity. At 33, with multiple World Cup victories and significant business interests, de Klerk doesn't need rugby. Rugby needs him. The training camp atmosphere in New Zealand revealed everything about his mindset. While some veterans might have approached this opportunity as a victory lap or farewell tour, de Klerk attacked preparation with the energy of someone fighting for their first cap. The selection dynamics became fascinating to observe. Established starters in the scrum half position suddenly had to account for competition from someone who'd achieved everything possible in international rugby, but still hungry for more opportunities. Competition elevated everyone's performance. Training sessions intensified when players knew they were competing against proven winners. Standards rose when preparation was observed by someone who'd succeeded on every stage that mattered. The media narrative shifted accordingly. Early coverage focused on the surprise of his inclusion and speculation about token gestures. As camp progressed, attention turned to his obvious impact on team preparation and genuine competition for selection. But the most telling reactions came from current teammates, veteran players expressing genuine excitement about working with someone whose career achievements spoke for themselves. Younger players seeking guidance from someone who'd succeeded in situations they aspired to reach. The respect was mutual. De Klerk's approach to camp demonstrated how much he valued the opportunity to represent South Africa again. No entitlement despite his achievements, no assumption of automatic selection despite his experience, just professional preparation and competitive intensity. Physical conditioning became a crucial factor. Playing in Japan's League One competition provided match fitness and competitive rhythm, but international rugby demands different intensity levels. The rehabilitation from his thigh injury needed to translate into test match readiness. Training footage and camp reports suggested he'd managed this transition successfully. Movement patterns looked precise, decision-making remained quick and accurate. Most importantly, the competitive drive that defined his peak years appeared undiminished. The psychological preparation for potential selection required different skills than earlier career phases. Previously, earning caps involved proving worthiness for opportunity. Now it meant demonstrating sustained excellence despite age and injury concerns. His approach reflected hard-earned wisdom about international rugby's unique pressures. Understanding that every appearance might be his last created urgency without desperation. Experience managing big match stress provided composure without complacency. The comeback narrative resonated beyond rugby circles because it represented universal themes about aging, ambition, and refusing to accept conventional limitations. Professional athletes often provide inspiration about pushing boundaries that apply to challenges everyone faces. His story became particularly relevant in South African sports culture, where success stories offer hope and national pride. Seeing someone who had already achieved everything continue fighting for more opportunities provided motivation that extended far beyond rugby supporters. The business community noticed as well. His approach to balancing entrepreneurial ventures with athletic excellence offered lessons about time management, goal setting, and maintaining competitive drive across different fields. International recognition followed naturally. Rugby media worldwide covered his return as a story about determination and professional excellence. The narrative appealed to global audiences who appreciate athletes refusing to accept convenient exit strategies. Yet, for all the external attention and broader significance, the ultimate measurement remained simple. Could he still perform when it mattered most? The answer would come in the most unforgiving environment possible: New Zealand, against the All Blacks, in front of rugby audiences who judge performance more than sentiment. This was exactly how de Klerk would want it measured. Not through sympathy or ceremonial appearances, but through performance under pressure in rugby's most demanding circumstances. The countdown to potential selection became a masterclass in professional preparation, meeting personal motivation. Every training session mattered. Every tactical discussion provided opportunities to demonstrate current understanding rather than past achievements. Tinius watched someone who could have coasted on reputation instead choosing to compete at the highest level. The example resonated throughout the squad, raising everyone's standards and intensity. Whether the comeback culminated in selection or remained an inspiring chapter about determination, the journey itself provided lessons about refusing to accept others' timelines for personal ambition. At 33, playing in Japan, coming back from injury, competing against younger players in rugby's most demanding position, conventional wisdom suggested graceful retirement. For a player who built his career on seizing moments when they appeared, this was all he needed. The rest would be decided where it always had been: on the field, under pressure, when championships hang in the balance. The comeback was complete. Now came the ultimate test, proving that champions never truly fade away. They just wait for the right moment to remind everyone why they became champions in the first place.